All right, so we're going to do a little bit of analysis on the must sample to see where things are at. So this is a sample that I took of the must right out of the... So let's see what the sugar level is, what the Brix level is. We want it to be above 24, 24, 25 in that area. So our Brix reading, 25.2, so that's really good. So that's going to be like a 15% alcohol, and when it ferments out, 15% wine. So now we want to check the pH on it, because we want the acidity to be in the 3 to 3.6 range before fermentation. So let's see what we get. So 3.55, that's pretty good for, let's get it to the pH here. 3.55 is really good. 3.54, even better. So it's going to be like 3.54 is a good pH. That's a really good starting pH. That's perfect for what we want. So now we're going to do, what we're going to do is we're going to check the total acid on this. So we'll come back when I get that set up. All right, so we're going to do the total acid now. So I've got a 5 milliliter sample of the must in here with 15 milliliters of distilled water. So our goal is we want to get the acidity. This will go up to a 3.55. So what we want to do is get the get it so it gets up to 8.02, I believe is the number we're looking for. This SC300 from Vinmetrica is my analysis machine. It will actually start beeping when it hits the right pH. So what we're going to do is we have titrant in this tube here, and we're going to be dripping it into the sample. So we have to be careful to drip it slowly and not too fast. You have to be careful too not to get this stuff on your skin because it will burn you. So we're going to wipe this drop off here so we can be precise with our measurements. All right. So we're going to turn this on so it just drips a little bit. So you have to be really easy with the, we want it to drip a little bit at a time. Because we have this at 0, we're going to monitor how much we use, and it's very important that you get as precise as possible. So we're going to turn this on very slowly until it starts dripping. Really slowly. It has to be. You just want drops. All right, so here it goes. It's starting to drip. And you can watch the pH will start going up on here. But we're going to turn this on too. We want it stirring. So at 3.6, and it's going to go up. Raise this up a little. We don't want that stirring rod to keep hitting the electrode, so we'll raise this up just a little bit. 3.7. So we need to get it up to 7, so we'll turn it on a little bit faster, but not too much faster. So it drips a little bit faster. And then once it hits like 3.6, I'll slow it back down again. Or sorry, not 3.6, 6. Once it hits 6.0, I'll slow it down. Probably slow it down a little bit now. It's dripping kind of fast. So we'll slow it down a little bit, give it some time to catch up. So we want to be precise on this. All right, so we can have it drip a little bit more now. There it goes. So we're at 4 now. Okay, we're at 6, so we're going to slow it down some more. Once it gets up. All right, so we're 6.69, so we'll turn it on just a little bit more. Be really careful not to turn it too fast. That's a little too fast. Now we're at 7.9. Yep. We overshot it by a little bit. So it's about 4. So the TA on it's going to be 8. We went over just a little bit. So the TA is about 8 on this, which is on the high side, but it's fine. Because it just means it's going to have a little tartness to it, and some of the acid will go away when fermentation happens, so it'll dissipate. So it should finish in a nice area. So we're looking at a total acid of 8, a Brix of 25.2, and a pH of about 3.55, which is, all those numbers sound really good. So now we're going to get the starter together to start fermentation. All right, so now that we got our numbers all set, it's time to put together our, we're going to rehydrate the yeast, and we're going to then create a starter so we get a fermentation going pretty quickly, because we want a fermentation to happen before any bacteria or any wild yeast can get in there, so we can better control what's going on. So we're going to use something that's called Go-Ferm Sterile Flash. It's a really good yeast hydration nutrition stuff that really builds for a stronger yeast. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna take some of the must and put the must in there too to give the yeast some food and get it so it starts, starting a small fermentation faster. So the correct measurement of this is we want 1.25 grams per 1 gram of yeast. So we have a 30 gallons of must, so we're going to use 30 grams of yeast. So we have to pull out our trusty calculator. 30 times 1.25 is, we need 37.5 grams of sterile flash. So we're going to measure that out. So we need 37.5. So we'll put this on there. So it comes in at 0. We're doing grams. So we'll set this so it's 0. So this should be 10 grams. It's 10 grams in this packet. So we'll just dump this whole packet in. Yeah, 10.7 grams. 10.8, that's good. And then we're going to do what was left in this packet. Try to get rid of some of these small packets because I have big packets of it too for other. So we'll just add this all in there because we shouldn't exceed the 30 grams with this either. So we're at 15 grams. So then I have a big bag. Now, and we'll add 15 more grams. Or 37, what was it, 37.5, right? 37.5, so we need 22 more grams. 37.5. $37 I'm a little over. It's okay. 1/10 of a gram isn't that bad. I'm not worried about it. All right, so we're going to go ahead and put this in the flask that we're going to do the yeast rehydration in. Now, the nice thing with sterile flash is that normally with yeast hydration, you want to use warm water, hot water, like between 90 to 100 degrees. But with sterile flash, you don't need to do that. You can use room temperature water, and it works great. And it actually is supposed to be better nutrition than the other. So with this, we want to use 17 milliliters of distilled water with 1 gram, 1.25 grams. So we use 37. So we'll multiply that by 17. That's 637 milliliters of water with it. So we'll grab a, well, I'm just going to 637. So we'll just do it up to 650. So we'll take distilled water and we'll fill it up to the 650 milliliter mark. You can take it off the scale. It doesn't need to be precise for this. All right, so we're at 650 milliliters. And then what I'm going to do is we're going to drop a stir rod in. And then we're going to stir it up. But I'm going to put it on, I have a stir plate over here, so I'm going to put it on the stir plate. You can't see the stir plate right now, but we'll show you the stir plate later. And we're going to just get this mixed up real good while we get the yeast out. So we want this mixed in really good. There it goes. All right, so the stir plate's doing its thing, mixing in the sterile flash. We're going to grab our yeast out of the refrigerator. So with wine yeast, you want to keep it cold in the fridge. So here we have the close wine yeast. And we're going to need 30 grams of that. So we get a trusty scale in. Let's clean up some of the water that's spilled. I normally try to keep the lab really clean. But when you do everything at once, it gets a little dirty, but I'll clean it up here in a little bit. All right, so we're going to put a little beaker on it, and we'll set it to 0. And we need 30 grams of yeast. You can hear the stir plate going. Getting this stuff all mixed up nice and good for us. All right, so we want, what's going on already? We want, anytime we get above it, that's weird. There. So now we're going to do 30 grams of yeast. There we go, that's good. 30 and a half grams, that's fine. Adding a little extra yeast won't never hurt you. Not when it's that little. All right, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna put the yeast in here and let it rehydrate. It's gonna take about 20 minutes, 25 minutes. And then after that, I'm going to put some must in it. We'll take some must out of the fermenter and add some must into it and get a really good bubbling starter going. And we'll come back when the starter's finished and show you pitching. All right, so the starter's going. We got some foam, so we know we got some good fermentation going on in there right now. The yeast is active and getting into the must that I put in here. So we're going to go ahead and pitch this into the must right now. So we'll take the lid off the trash can here. We'll put that down. And then what we want to do is we're just going to sprinkle just the yeast in one spot. We're just going to put it all right here, right on the top. I have to watch, there's a stir thing in here and I don't want it to fall into the must. It's still in there, great. All right, so now what we'll do is we'll check back in probably about 4 hours and this thing should already start forming the cap. It'll take off pretty quickly, which is great. And we'll check in and we'll show you then. Okay, here it is the next morning after we pitched the yeast last night for the Grenache wine that we're working on. So we're going to go ahead and do the punch down, the first punch down. So let's take a look at it. There you go. So there is the must. The grapes are all about the fermentation. So we're just going to punch all these grapes down into the juice. Get them down in. So this is the Grenache. All right, so that's the first cap punch down. And then we'll come back after fermentation's complete and do the pressing.